You ever think your life is one of those cheesy cell phone commercials? Family plan for everyone. Until you look a little too closely and realize your plan includes a whole lot of calls you didn't make? That was me. Just a regular Wednesday night in my nice, quiet suburban house. I'm Rob, 44, IT consultant. The kind of guy who's got his routers labeled, his home firewall updated monthly, and his socks in alphabetical order. My wife, Karen, yeah, the name fits, is an HR manager for a regional bank. Travels a lot for training conferences. A little too many conferences lately, if you ask me. Anyway, there I was, sitting in my home office/man cave, trying to sort out why her phone had been hogging so much bandwidth. Not that I spy, mind you, I just notice things. Occupational hazard. So I log into the online portal for our carrier. Basic family plan, 2 phones, unlimited everything. I'm poking around the usage details because last month we overshot the data cap for the first time in years. Weird. As I'm clicking through, something jumps out and slaps me right across my no-nonsense, firewall-hardened face. There are FaceTime calls logged at 1:23 a.m., 2:15 a.m., 3:02 a.m., all to the same unknown number. Repeated, over and over, on nights when Karen was supposedly in Dallas for a leadership retreat. Huh, that's odd, I think, leaning back in my chair. Karen's a morning person, can't even watch a movie past 10 without conking out. So who exactly is she having FaceTime pajama parties with in the middle of the night? Now, a normal man might brush it off. It's probably a work emergency, he'd say. She probably lost track of the time. But here's the thing about being an IT guy. You know what people do with technology. And I know Karen. That woman would rather take a cross-country flight on Spirit Airlines than willingly FaceTime someone for hours unless she was, well, deeply incentivized. So now I'm sitting there, staring at the screen. I start pulling up location pings. Lo and behold, while she was at the conference hotel, her phone was bouncing all over Creation, a high-end condo building across town. A place where, incidentally, her newly divorced boss, Mr. David Silverman, VP of People Operations, just so happens to live. And that, my friends, was my first clue. I shut my laptop. I didn't say anything. Not yet. Because like any good predator, you don't pounce when you smell the prey. You wait, you watch, you plan. The next morning over coffee, she was her usual chirpy self. Heading to Denver next week. Han, she said, scrolling through her phone. I smiled. Oh, more training? Yup. Gotta build those leadership competencies. Right. After she left, I went full operator mode. See, a year ago I had given her an iPad for Christmas. A shiny new one, engraved and everything. What she didn't know was that she had left the damn thing synced to her cloud account, and she hadn't updated her OS. Which meant it was open season. I dug the iPad out from the drawer in the guest room where she'd tossed it. 10 minutes later, I had it running silent monitoring software. No alerts, no pop-ups. It would send me full audio captures anytime it detected conversation. It also mirrored her new messages straight to my secure cloud storage. Now all I had to do was wait. And wait I did. The next Friday, she left for Denver. Supposedly a big regional HR summit. I kissed her goodbye, wished her luck, and even helped load her suitcase into the Uber. Then I went back inside, poured myself a glass of scotch, and set up my laptop on the kitchen island. By 10 p.m., the iPad had already picked up the first call. Voices. Laughter. His voice. David Silverman. A man whose LinkedIn photo oozed. I peaked in high school, but now we're Hugo Boss. Then the good stuff started rolling in. I got the full package. Sweet little nicknames. Pillow talk. Promises. Plans. And my personal favorite. A full 10-minute conversation where Karen explained how Rob will never suspect a thing. He's too busy tinkering with his computers. I sipped my scotch and hit record. Over the weekend, I collected hours of footage. By Sunday night, I had enough to sink the Titanic. And as much as it burned to listen to my wife coo about how her new lover understood her needs better, I kept my cool. Because revenge, my friends, is a dish best served in 1080p. I spent the next few days editing. Clean audio clips. Subtle background music. Professional quality transitions. The final product? A 10-minute HR ethics and compliance training video presented by Karen herself, complete with time-stamped audio of her violating just about every policy she was paid to enforce. Now came the final phase. I created a fake anonymous Gmail account. I uploaded the video to a private link. Then I wrote a very polite email to Karen's company intranet admin. Dear HR team, we recently received anonymous footage that may indicate a potential violation of your company's ethics policy. For the sake of transparency, we suggest this content be reviewed in your next scheduled compliance training. And I attached the link. Then I waited. And oh, what a show it was. The thing about waiting for your trap to spring is you've got to pretend life is normal. Normal as in, sure honey, have a great time in Denver. Oh, don't forget to try that new tapas place you were raving about. Meanwhile, you've got an SD card filling up with enough audio to launch a blackmail career. But hey, patience is key. So Monday rolls around. I've got my little HR ethics training masterpiece all nice and polished. Subtitles, crisp audio, a tasteful, confidential watermark in the corner. This wasn't revenge porn. No. It was professional development. Now I needed delivery. Karen's company used a gloriously outdated intranet. One of those clunky SharePoint setups where documents go to die. I created a burner Gmail, drafted a polite, clinical email to the site admin, attached the video link with a message. This footage may indicate serious violations of your company's ethics policies by 2 senior staff members. For transparency and risk mitigation, you may want to review it internally before external parties do. Clicked send, sat back, and smiled. By noon, I saw the first sign it had landed. Karen texted me from Denver. Hey, you didn't send me an email today, right? Oh, honey, you have no idea. Me, nope. What? Just weird spam going around at work. Anyway, miss you. Spam. Right. The only kind of spam that makes your boss call you into a conference room and lock the door. See, what I hadn't counted on, and this was the cherry on top, was that the internal portal logged views. And guess who watched the video first? Not IT. Not legal. Nope. David Silverman's ex-wife, who still had admin rights on the intranet as a contracted HR consultant. Oops. By mid-afternoon, Karen stopped texting. That night, radio silence. I sat in my kitchen with another glass of scotch, watching the little green dot on her messages flicker off. Next morning, 6:12 a.m., my phone buzzes. Unknown number. What the hell did you do? David, the man himself. Now, I'm not a saint, but I'm also not stupid. I hadn't used anything traceable. The email came from a burner run through a VPN. The video had no identifying metadata. Let him scream into the void. I ignored the call. At 9:15 a.m., it hit the fan. One of my buddies, an old pal who worked in the same building, texted me. Dude, massive HR meltdown on floor 5. People getting pulled into emergency meetings. You okay? I told him I was peachy. By noon, it was official. Karen's boss, the actual HR director, not David, sent out a curt email. We are aware of disturbing materials circulating and are conducting a full internal review. Please refrain from further speculation or discussion. Translation, corporate arson in progress. At 3:47 p.m., my phone finally rang again. This time, Karen. I answered. Rob, we need to talk. Her voice sounded raw, tired, desperate. Me, cheerful, sure, babe. How was Denver? Silence. Please. I know you saw or heard something. I don't know how you got it, but me. But what? You were going to tell me after the conference? During pillow talk? She broke down. Actual sobbing. Not the cute movie kind. The panicked, career on fire kind. They want me to resign. They said if I don't, they'll terminate me with cause. I let that hang in the air. Me. Seems like they're really invested in HR ethics these days. Please, Rob. You've made your point. Don't ruin me. That's where she was wrong. I wasn't after emotional closure. I didn't want an apology, or tears, or the power dynamic restored. No, I wanted exactly what was happening. Her squirming in a corner while the world she built on lies collapsed. Me. Karen, I didn't do anything. If someone else sent that footage, well, maybe they just really care about corporate compliance. You're sick. Me. No, sweetheart. I'm just thorough. Click. Later that night, my friend texted again. Silverman's ex-wife was in the room when they showed the video to legal. She laughed. Loud. Karen left the building in tears. Silverman hasn't been seen since noon. Chef's kiss. But the real kicker? The next morning, Karen's company posted an internal memo, standard HR speak, announcing that Ms. Karen redacted and Mr. David Silverman are no longer with the organization effective immediately. And just like that, poof, career gone, reputation scorched, public humiliation delivered on a silver platter. I didn't reply to Karen's follow-up texts. Oh yes, there were many. Apologies, rationalizations, blame, denials, offers to work through it. No thanks. Instead, I did the most satisfying thing I'd done all month, deleted her contact, blocked her number, wiped her from my digital life like she never existed. Because here's the truth no one tells you about betrayal. You don't always need to forgive or understand or rebuild. Sometimes, you just watch it burn and walk away with your hands clean. And I was very, very clean. So there I was. 2 birds down, 1 stone tossed. Karen, career in ashes. David Silverman, MIA, probably explaining to corporate legal why his leadership involved late-night FaceTime calls from his penthouse bedroom. And me? Well, I slept like a baby. First time in months. But here's the thing about scorched earth. Sometimes the fires keep burning. 2 days after the ethics training video incident, I noticed Karen's name popping up in old shared accounts. Bank alerts. Travel logins. Spotify, for God's sake. It was subtle. A couple of password resets here, a deleted email draft there. That's when it clicked. She wasn't done. She was scrambling, trying to figure out just how deep I had her wired, how much I knew, and if she could still salvage anything. I grabbed my laptop, logged into our shared iCloud family account, because yes, despite her newfound love for late-night FaceTimes, Karen had never unlinked our cloud storage. Rookie mistake. There, in her Notes app, were hastily typed entries. Check with IT about video origin. Talk to David Ree. Damage control. Lawyer? NDA options? Rob knows? How? Oh, sweetheart. You really should have married someone in marketing, not a security architect. By Friday, the text started again. Please, Rob. We need to talk. Can we meet? Just once. I know what you did. We can fix this. Don't ruin both of us. But that ship had sailed, hit an iceberg, and was sitting on the ocean floor next to the Titanic's fine china. Now here's where things got interesting. One of my old tech buddies, let's call him Mike, worked in the same tower where Karen's bank had its regional HQ. Over happy hour that Friday, I asked offhand, "Hey, been any drama over at Bancorp this week?" Mike laughed so hard he almost choked on his beer. "Dude, you have no idea. Total HR bloodbath. Karen's gone. Silverman's gone. Word is their exes teamed up or something. There's like a full-blown investigation now. Compliance, outside auditors, the whole circus. Exes teamed up. Now that was new. Later that night, I got my confirmation. An anonymous email, obviously VPN'd and Tor bounced, but I recognized the writing style, landed in my inbox. "Rob, I know you had a hand in this. Thank you. You've done what I couldn't. He deserves everything coming. Stay safe. No signature. But the initials at the bottom? Yes. David Silverman's ex-wife, Emily. Apparently the enemy of my enemy had become a very useful frenemy. Now, I could have stopped there. Let the fire burn itself out. But remember, I wasn't here for closure. I wanted Karen publicly humiliated. I wanted Silverman's name to be corporate poison. And I wanted a clean slate for myself. No loose ends, no questions. So I planned phase 2. First, I drafted a little message to Bancorp's anonymous whistleblower line, flagged a few policy violations, attached transcripts, tastefully redacted, from the iPad logs, and included a timestamped note about potential abuse of corporate travel funds. After all, those Denver conferences were paid for by the bank. Then I scheduled a meeting with a divorce attorney, the best one in town for high-conflict separations. Told her everything. Showed her the audio. Explained the public leak. Her advice? You have them over a barrel. Push for everything. Assets. Legal fees. Reputation clauses. Music to my ears. That weekend, I filed papers. Grounds. Adultery. Breach of trust. Attached evidence. Then I made one last move. Karen loved her little HR professional LinkedIn circle. Loved posting, empowering women in leadership articles, and tagging herself at conferences. So I created a new, anonymous Medium blog post, very factual, very legalistic, titled, "When HR Ethics Fail, Lessons from a Real-World Case Study." No names, no companies, but enough detail that anyone in her circle would know exactly who and what it was about. I posted it Sunday night. By Monday, it was trending on corporate HR Slack channels. By Tuesday, Karen's name was scrubbed from Bancorp's leadership pages. By Wednesday, she emailed me. "You win. I'll sign whatever you want. Just stop, please." And that's when I knew I'd won. But here's the twist, because every good story needs one. That same day, Mike texted me again. "Bro, you won't believe this. David's ex? She's dating the new head of compliance. The guy leading the investigation." I just sat back and laughed. The wolves had eaten each other. The vultures were feasting on the remains. And me? I was done. No need to drag it out. The damage was done. Karen's career was toast. Silverman was radioactive. And I had a clean legal path to walk away with most of our shared assets. That night, I poured one last glass of scotch, sat out on the deck, listened to the summer crickets, and smiled. Because sometimes, the best revenge isn't just cold, it's clinical, efficient, surgical, and utterly unforgettable. You know that feeling when you walk out of a courtroom, hand someone a pen, and they sign away their dignity on a dotted line? Yeah, that was Tuesday. Karen showed up to my lawyer's office in a wrinkled blazer and sunglasses. Not because it was sunny, it was raining, actually, but because the bags under her eyes could have qualified for TSA screening. She didn't even argue, just flipped through the divorce packet and scribbled her name like she was signing for a pizza. I thanked her for her time. She didn't reply. By Wednesday, it was official. I was no longer married. My accounts were clean. My assets, the house, the car, even the damn dog, were all mine. Now, most guys would stop there. Walk away. Feel satisfied. But not me. Because I still had one card left to play. One last nuke to drop, just to make sure the cockroaches didn't crawl back. See, when you've been married to someone long enough, and you both work corporate jobs, you pick up some very interesting shared habits. Like how Karen used to store all her travel receipts in a shared Google Drive folder. Back when we used to split expenses and budget like responsible grown-ups. She never stopped uploading them. So I started digging. And what did I find? Line after line of receipts for client dinners, transportation, and accommodations, except none of them matched up with the official conferences she was allegedly attending. One in particular stood out, a $487 spa package charged to a hotel in Atlanta. The same weekend she claimed she was at a diversity in leadership panel in Chicago. I cross-checked the hotel. Room was booked under David Silverman's name, paid with a shared corporate card. That's when I knew. This wasn't just a case of bad judgment or poor relationship choices. It was full-blown corporate fraud. And if there's one thing HR people hate more than lawsuits, it's expense report violations. So I forwarded the receipts, anonymously, of course, to the internal audit department at Bancorp. CC'd their ethics hotline. Subject line: possible travel fraud and unauthorized expenditures involving former employees KS and DS. Boom. Thursday afternoon, I got a call from my friend Mike again. "Dude," he whispered, "they're opening a criminal probe. You didn't hear it from me." I hadn't. Not officially, but unofficially. That made my week. Meanwhile, Karen tried to contact me again, this time through my mother. Yes, my actual mother, who she hadn't spoken to since Easter 2 years ago when she passive-aggressively criticized her green bean casserole. Mom called me. She says she wants to talk. Robert. Says it's important. Says she didn't mean for things to go this way. I laughed. Tell her to take a number. Mom chuckled. That's my boy. Friday evening, I opened my inbox and found a new message from an unfamiliar Gmail address. It was a video. Karen, crying, recorded selfie style in what looked like a cheap hotel room. Her makeup was smudged, her hair unwashed. No script, just desperation. "Rob, if you're watching this, I just want you to know I'm sorry. I lost everything. I'm not trying to get anything from you. I just wanted you to know I understand now. I get why you're doing this." She paused, wiped her nose. I didn't realize how much damage I did until it all came back around. David's gone. He left town. Said I ruined his life. I guess I did. I guess I ruined mine too. She started to say something else, something about starting over, but I closed the video. I didn't need a redemption arc. This wasn't Netflix. This was real life. And in real life, consequences don't come with violin music. Later that night, I logged back into the cloud account one last time. The one she never unlinked. It was quiet now. No new notes. No calls. Just silence. That was the real ending. No final fight. No blowout. Just one person torching their life while the other walks away with clean hands and a cool breeze behind them. And me? I poured a scotch, sat back, and opened a fresh spreadsheet. Time to plan my next project. Because once you've executed perfect revenge, everything else just feels like system maintenance. If there's one thing corporate HR types hate more than lawsuits and expense fraud, it's being talked about. And by Friday afternoon, trust me, Karen was being talked about. Not in a hushed, poor Karen way. No, more like, did you hear? And you won't believe what was on the whistleblower thread. Because as my little anonymous tips circulated through audit and compliance, other little details started surfacing too. Apparently, David Silverman wasn't exactly discreet with company funds. And Karen, bless her clueless little heart, had left enough breadcrumbs to bake a compliance cake. By Monday, Bancorp's board had called an emergency ethics meeting. My buddy Mike said it looked like a funeral procession, execs filing in pale-faced and tight-lipped. That same morning, I got another anonymous email. Short. Sweet. You've lit a fire we can't put out. Thank you. Signed again, yes. Emily Silverman, MVP of the Revenge Playoffs. Meanwhile, Karen? She was unraveling faster than a cheap sweater in a spin cycle. Multiple texts. Multiple voicemails. I didn't respond. Why would I? The show was better from the balcony seats. But then, Tuesday afternoon, she crossed a line. I came home to find a handwritten note taped to my front door. Sloppy, rushed writing. Smelled faintly of cheap perfume and panic. Rob, please. I can't take this anymore. Please stop. I'm begging you. Let's just meet. We can end this. I can't lose everything. Now I'm a firm believer in boundaries. Digital war? Fair game. Corporate ethics? All's fair. But showing up at my house? Unacceptable. So I made one final call. To my lawyer. Restraining order, I said. Personal and professional. She's escalating. My lawyer was happy to oblige. And just to ice the cake, I had the building manager pull security footage of Karen leaving the note. Documentation, my friends, always have receipts. By Thursday, the restraining order was filed. Karen was legally barred from contacting me in any form. But the universe, it seemed, wasn't done with her yet. That afternoon, Mike texted. Holy hell. Silverman's ex just leaked emails. To the press. Turns out Emily, who had apparently kept a tidy little folder of David and Karen's email chains, had anonymously forwarded them to a well-known industry journalist. One of those watchdogs who loves a good corporate culture scandal. By Friday morning, it hit the wires. Bancorp HR scandal. Expense fraud and ethics breach rock corporate HQ. Karen's name wasn't in the headline, but anyone who worked there knew exactly who senior HR leadership referred to. The article detailed everything. Unauthorized expenses, inappropriate relationships, potential misuse of travel funds. Quoted internal sources, confirmed resignations, and ongoing investigations. Karen's LinkedIn was deactivated by noon. David Silverman's company profile was wiped clean. Bancorp stock? Down 4% by close. And me? I was sipping coffee, reading the article like the morning comics. But the best part, the real cherry on top, came later that evening. I got a DM. From Emily. We did it. If you're ever in the mood to celebrate, drinks on me. No strings attached. I smiled. Not because I wanted drinks with Emily, though I respected the hustle, but because the game was over. Clean. Surgical. No loose ends. Karen had lost her marriage, her career, her professional reputation, and the one man she burned it all for? Well, rumor had it he'd fled to his second home in the Hamptons to avoid the media circus. Poetic. As for me, I didn't just move on, I upgraded. New house, new accounts, new routines. No more shared clouds, shared plans, shared anything. I even got a new phone number. The last text Karen ever sent, right before the restraining order landed, was a single word. Why? I didn't reply. Because some questions don't deserve answers. Some people don't deserve closure. And some betrayals? They deserve to echo. You know the funny thing about revenge? It doesn't end with the last move. Not really. People think it's some big fireworks finale. Boom, everyone claps, credits roll. Nah. Real revenge is like setting a domino chain in motion. You flick that first tile and walk away. The rest? Gravity takes care of it. And so it was with Karen. After the article hit, after the stock dip, after the public scandal, you'd think she'd go quiet. Crawl under a rock. Maybe get a job teaching yoga in some suburb that still uses AOL. But no, the last gasp of a cornered narcissist is always the same: the victim tour. By the next week, she was on LinkedIn with a new profile: independent HR consultant, ethics advocate, seeking opportunities to help organizations rebuild trust. I nearly spit out my coffee when I saw it. The woman who'd just detonated an ethics scandal was offering herself as an ethics consultant. Ballsy. I'll give her that. But the best part? The comments. Oh, they poured in. Is this the same Karen redacted from Bancorp? Didn't you just resign over an ethics violation? You've got some nerve posting this after what you did. I didn't post a word. Didn't need to. Sometimes the most satisfying sound is the one you don't make, just watching someone twist in the wind. Meanwhile, David Silverman's ex, Emily, kept feeding the fire. Quietly, precisely. Another anonymous tip went to a major business podcast. They ran a full segment on how corporate affairs kill careers. They didn't name names, but the details were unmistakable. Karen's consulting gig lasted exactly 72 hours before her profile vanished. After that, silence. For me, life was blissfully normal. New routines, new circles, no shared accounts, no cloud backups, no digital footprints where they didn't belong. And then, 2 weeks later, the final twist. I got a plain white envelope in the mail. No return address. Inside, a single sheet of paper. Bancorp External Audit Summary. Ongoing investigation recommends referral to local authorities for potential charges related to corporate fraud and misuse of company funds. Below that, a short note handwritten in block letters. You started something good. Let them finish it. Yes. I sat back in my chair. Read it again. Smiled. You see, that was the real revenge. Not the job loss. Not the LinkedIn shaming. Not even the public scandal. No, it was knowing that every time Karen tried to rebuild her little professional empire, this would follow her. Every background check. Every interview. Every networking event. A shadow that wouldn't go away. That's what betrayal earns. Not forgiveness. Not understanding. Just a long, quiet echo that ruins every new beginning. As for me, I closed the envelope. Tossed it in the fire. Then I booked a vacation. Somewhere warm. Somewhere quiet. Somewhere no one knew me or cared about some corporate HR train wreck. And as I packed, my phone buzzed one last time. A blocked number. Voicemail left. I played it, speaker on, hands folding shirts. Karen's voice. Shaky. Tired. Rob, I know you won't answer. I wanted you to know. You got what you wanted. You destroyed me. I hope it was worth it. I hope you're happy. Click. I stared at the phone. Was I happy? No, that's not the point. The point is this: I was clean. I was free. And every lie she told, every smug little smirk she wore during those FaceTime calls, every moment she thought she was 2 steps ahead, all burned to the ground. I powered off the phone, dropped it in my carry-on. Some things don't need a response. Because in the end, true revenge isn't about justice or catharsis or even closure. It's about making sure the people who thought they were smarter, slicker, untouchable, remember exactly why they're not. Forever. Subscribe to the channel